What are the misconceptions about iridology? I was blessed in 1976. In fact, it was August 1976. Up until then, I'd studied nutrition for quite a long, so several decades, but I'd never actually come across iridology, right? And I since found out in 1976 when I met the chiropractor, a very smart chiropractor in South Australia. I met him and he actually looked in my eyes, right, with a torch and a magnifying glass, both eyes. And to my amazement, he was able to lie me down on the table, on the chiropractic table, and he didn't touch my back except to where the back was actually sore, which is the lower lumbar here, in the lower lumbar. And he actually put his fingers exactly on the spot where my back was hurting. And you got to remember, my back was hurting because of a very good reason. I'd spent 12 months in combat in Vietnam, carrying between 80 and 90 pounds of equipment, including rifles, ammunition, water, and rations for combat and so on. I'd been doing that for 12 months, constant operations. Some of the operations are lasting 30 days. You have to carry everything on your back. And even though you're young, you're 19 and a half, 20, you still end up with having problems with your back because it's such a demanding task to do for 12 months in constant combat. Hardly any rest, right? So, of course, it put so much pressure on my back that my back started causing problems in my lumbar area. Now, remember, in the back, you've got your cervical area, you've got the thoracic area, and then you've got the lumbar area. The lumbar area is the lowest point near the coccyx. So, to my amazement, this chiropractor looked in my eyes, used the torch, and then used the magnifying glass, and he was then able to lie me down on the chiropractic table and adjust me. And at the age of 30, I was quite mature and very smart, and I knew that it was best not to ask questions while he was doing the examination. But at the end of it, I said to him, excuse me, but you're a chiropractor. What are you doing looking in my eyes? And he said, iridology. And I thought, what does that mean? He said, I've never heard of it. He said, it's the science of looking at the iris, which is the colored part of the eyes, right? And when you look at the colored part of the eyes, you can see many, many things that are active. You can see toxicity, you can see subluxations, you can see problems in the actual eye that's happening in the body. And I said, like what? And he said, well, every organ that is of substance can be seen in both eyes. And I went, wow, really? And I said, okay, have you got a book on this? So he lent me a book, and the book was written by a nurse who was also an iridologist called Dorothy. And so Dorothy, she had written this book on iridology. It was a pretty easy book to read because it was so well written. So I read the book and I was so fascinated. I went back to the chiropractor and said, look, give me more information. I want to study this. So since 1976 up till now, I started to realize I was onto something very, very smart, that I could help a lot of people and I could build a business, an international business, using this science of iridology. So there are a lot of bunks and myths about iridology because many, many doctors who don't understand any better, they don't look into it, they just make an assumption that iridology doesn't work. Well, let me tell you something. It does work. Let me tell you why it works. Every single day, right? Every single day, your nerves, you got nerves in your head. You got nerves from the cervical up here right down to the coccyx, and of course you got nerves on your legs as well. So what actually happens is when your nerves are damaged or are being pressured or being subluxated between the vertebrae, those nerves send 28,000 signals from your nerves along the spine, up the optic nerve, and into the iris, and also the sclera. I'll repeat that. Every single day, 28 100,000 signals travel up your spine into the optic nerve and marks your eyes. It actually marks your iris, which is the colored part of the eye, right? So what that does, it gives the ability for an iridologist like me to be able to pin down up to 80 things in the eyes, up to 80. So, of course, when you use that science of iridology, you can also use the science of sclerology. So iridology refers to the science of reading the actual colored part of the eyes. For example, it could be brown, blue, green, dark, hazel, and a bit of mixture of other colors, right? But most prominent you'll see as an iridologist, especially if you're in Asia, is brown. For example, in Africa, you've got 800 million people who are brown-eyed. And same with China, 1.3 billion brown-eyed. India, about 1.2 billion brown-eyed. Now, remarkably, in iridology, I discovered that only 3% of the world, 3% of the world have got blue eyes. And also discovered that blue-eyed people have got a genetic tendency to suffer from problems with their lymphatic system. All right, and I'll show you that in a minute in the eyes. Right? So blue-eyed people tend to have a problem with their lymphatic system. Brown-eyed people tend to have a problem with their liver and gallbladder. Amazing, right? And so all these genetics becomes from my grandparents, and they travel down. So anxiety in your body can come from your great-great-grandfather 2 or 3 generations back. And iridology shows you rings in the eyes, which are called contraction furrows, or what they call anxiety furrows, right? Really fascinating because all these markings in the eyes indicate to the iridologist what to recommend to fix your problem, right? But I'm going to show you now an iridology chart. But before I do that, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel, right, and press the bell, and get your combination where you're allowed to get your videos on a regular basis. You'll be advised when it's on 3 times a week. So now I'm going to show you a chart that is a very much more advanced chart that the chiropractor showed me in 1976. The chart he showed me in 1976 was a black and white chart. But even then, it was so detailed, he was able to look at the chart and help me with my problem with my back. But since then, many thousands of people have been consulted over the last 30, 40 years. And then now we've got the most modern chart. I don't think there'll be much improvement on this chart, but there it is. Now, this is the most modern chart you can have, the iridology chart. Now watch carefully. You see R there, right? That refers to the actual iris on your right eye, or in your right eye. And the L for left is the chart for the iris on your left eye. Right? That's as far as iridology, which is the science of reading the iris, again, which is the colored part of the eye. Okay? For example, some of the key organs, absolute key organs, can be seen in that. And that as a result of knowing iridology, and then the next level I'm going to explain is nutrition, but I'll do that in a minute. So what happens here, this is your right lung. Can you see that? In blue, that's the right lung, right bronchioles. In the left lung, left bronchial. In the top, in here, this is the ascending colon, transverse colon. Ascending colon, transverse colon to here. Right? That's the right eye. Appendix, ascending colon, transverse colon to here. On this side, left side, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, and out. So the entire colon can be seen by a combination of right eye, or right iris to be precise, and left iris. Also, the intestines are shown here, right? The right intestines here, in the right eye, here, and the left intestines here on this side. So the entire digestive system, including your stomach, can be seen in the from this location in the eye. Now, in addition to that, you've got the brain. Okay, you've got the right brain here, and of course, the right brain is imagination, and left brain is logical. You can actually tell whether someone's logical or imagination by looking at the markings on these areas here. That's the left brain here, and that's the right brain. And then you've got the thyroid. You've got the thyroid here. That is the right thyroid, which is this one. And you've got the left thyroid, which is this one. Right. In addition to that, you've got the liver here and the gallbladder. And then down here, you've got the right kidney, right kidney. And you've got the left kidney here, you see. So right kidney is at that spot there. Left kidney is at that spot here. And then here, in this area here, you've got your back. And your left, that's your left side of your back, the left side of the back here. That's your cervical, thoracic, lumbar. And that is the right side of the back here, where it is here. Cervical, thoracic, lumbar. This is what the chiropractor was looking at in 1976. That's how he knew where my back was out, was subluxated. In other words, the vertebrae was slightly out. Of course, it caused a lot of pain, right? So, thankful to this, I'm so thankful for this chiropractor. And his name was Tony Human, Human. I don't know whether he's still practicing, but he was getting on back then. But that was 1976. But I'm so grateful for him that he showed me all this. So since then, I know I've seen in many parts of the world. I've worked iridology in all of Australia, New Zealand, right, parts of China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, some parts of America, France, Norway, many parts of Africa. I've done iridology on black people, on brown people, on blue-eyed people. I've done it all. Right? So at least 30,000 pairs of eyes have been done, have been assessed by me since 1976. And of course, now I use very modern cameras to take photos of the eyes where I can see more clearly with, so when we expand the photo, so there, because there's the iris, it's that big, okay? We take the photos of the eyes, and then we expand the photo on the computer about that size, like that. And then we can see very clearly 80 markings, right? 40 in the right eye, 40 in the left eye. All the details are there. It can tell us also about the level of anxiety that you suffer from, your liver problem, your gallbladder, your pancreas, your left thyroid, your right thyroid, your left brain, your right brain, your eyesight, your left ear, right ear, your right kidney, left kidney, right leg, anywhere from the hip, right, from the sciatica here, your knee area, your calf, your feet. Every organ in the body is actually shown in that chart. It's that powerful, right? So I must say this, that I've come across quite a few doctors. In fact, I've seen a lot of doctors, but a lot of them that I've spoken to about this, they've just poo-pooed it and said it doesn't work. But they've never asked me, point blank, how does it work, right? But I've got 6 to 8 doctors that I've seen the light, and those doctors have been trained by me to understand iridology, so they're using their knowledge of the anatomy by what they've learned from medical school, and then they've learned from me, and they're now helping people with the right nutrition. Instead of being drugs. Now, I'm not against drugs per se. For example, if I was in battle and I lost my arm, I got shot up, I'd be in so much pain, I would welcome a shot of morphine. Right? But I'm not talking about this sort of drug. I'm talking about drugs that are being used unnecessarily for years and years and years, and can cause enormous problems in your liver and your kidneys and even your brain and your lung area. So this science of iridology helps us to give you the right treatment with the right foods, right, and the right supplements, okay? Now, look at the difference here. You go to a medical doctor, you're going to get 10 minutes. You're not going to have a chance to do more than one disease. 10 minutes, how can you look at the body in 10 minutes? Now remember this, the body's got 200 cells, 200 varieties of cells. It's got 75 trillion cells. How can a doctor fix that in 10 minutes? It doesn't work. So what we do in our practice, we've done it for years. We spend at least 2 hours. 2 hours. We spend 2 hours looking at your eyes, photographing your eyes, assessing you, and then we recommend the food you should eat, the supplements you should take, the exercise you should have, the sleep patterns. That's why we get such outstanding results. I think we've now clocked 48 5-star reviews on our channel, right? We've also got a YouTube channel called Planet Wellness, okay, which have now just clocked 1,000 subscribers and over 65,000 views in the last 3 years, right? So there you have it. Now, if you want to know more about iridology, and I suggest you do, we've taken quite a few months to write this little booklet, about 16 pages, the benefits of having an iridology consultation. I'll repeat that. Benefits of having an iridology consultation. This is a free book, right? So if you want to know more about iridology, access this book on our website and our channel, right? And you'll see that the book will open your eyes about what iridology is about, right? That is a free book. Okay, now the second one, that is written about iridology, but in a different format, what your eyes can reveal about your health, right? That was written by me and I explained about the chart, and that's about 16 odd pages as well. That's also a free booklet. Now, in addition to that, we have written a book recently called the 28-day guide for lowering your blood sugar for diabetes, right? Now, the book took quite a few months, but it took 60 years of experience extracted to write the book, right? In the book, it's not just a book that you can look at one page. It's the whole book. It's about 340 pages of absolute wisdom, how you can improve your health enormously. And now I'm going to show you the book, right? This is recently released in late July, early August. Here's the book, right? The Diabetes Solution, a 28-day action plan for lowering your blood sugar naturally. The co-authors are myself, Ronald Delaro Simpson, and Patrina Ten. Now, that book is available right now on Amazon. We strongly advise you to buy that book. It is, look at the size of it. It's brilliant. And every page will give you amazing wisdom on how to clear your diabetes forever. You follow that book, you will get results. Even type 2, which is not easy to fix, but type 2 easier. Type 1, even type 1, you get enormous relief from type 1 as well. You've got more severe diabetes, of course, is type 1. The second level is type 2, okay? So this book is really strongly advise you to get this book from Amazon. And we've actually won the Amazon bestseller as a result of that book. So most other books you see in the Google or other research, they don't even talk about iridology. They don't explain it properly. And they don't even explain diabetes properly. They're just cookbooks, right? This is much more than a cookbook. It's a mindset, and it's a very helpful tool to use to help your body cure many diseases, including diabetes, right? So, if you like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, and 3 times a week you get some very, very impressive, informative information on the best nutrition for your body to achieve excellent health.